Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Alan Goish, and today we will be talking about a very controversial topic. Did Helio Gracie train Carlson Gracie? That's a question that we have to answer. That's a question that everybody want to know. I live with this. I live with this man practically my whole life. I can tell you, very few people woke up with Carlson Gracie, sleep with Carlson Gracie, and have spent the whole day with him like I used to since I was a boy. When I was 13 years old, to leave the oppression of the slums of Brazil and to try to overcome all the challenges that was present to me in my life, I moved to Carlson Gracie gym with 13 years old. When I was there, living there at the time, who was living there at the time was a guy called Gabalon, Alberto Santos, and Clovis. Clovis, not many people know, he was a tremendous black belt. He used to live in the gym too. Then he left. So, right when I moved in, he was moving out. He was already black belt. He's doing very well, very successful in Brazil. You know, he was one of the toughest guys. He fought Helio Gracie, you know, on a very controversial decision on that fight. At the time, you know, I believe it was in the Maracanã club, Maracanã Stadium. Then I spent practically lots of years of my life with Carlson. And when I was a kid, for me, stay around Carlson was something unbelievable, you know, because it's not because he was Carlson Gracie. I didn't care he was Carlson Gracie. No, I care about his charisma, the way he treats me, you know, his rough way that he talks to me, that I understand that he loves me, you know. We knew right away if Carlson Gracie likes you or not. Carlson was very eccentric guy, very eccentric. You know, he liked French music. He wakes up 4 in the morning, and he wants everybody to listen to his French music, you know. And he was great on games. He was a very unique individual. For me, he was a savant. Why? Because he was gnarly in jiu-jitsu. He had the ultimate vision for everything. Sometimes I try to contest him on a few things. I go, Carlson, do you think it should go like this? Later on, I go, wow. He was already ahead. He was 3,000 years ahead than I thought. And Carlson was this unique individual. Like I said, he was phenomenal in jiu-jitsu. In jiu-jitsu, like I posted a comment the other day in my friend's YouTube page, my friend Kama, he said, I told him, Carlson Gracie cannot be compared to anybody. He's like Pelé. You cannot compare Pelé to anybody. It's Pelé and everybody else. You know, then that's have to be understood right there. If you don't understand this line on jiu-jitsu, you're not gonna really comprehend the jiu-jitsu world. You know, that's how Carlson Gracie was. He was like the father. You know, he was the father of jiu-jitsu, was the guy that popularized jiu-jitsu. You know, he was a very eccentric individual. You know, and he's so eccentric. I tell you one of the greatest story about Carlson. I was about to fight Sakuraba in Japan. Then he told me, hey, go up, go home, go back to the room. Go back to the room to sleep. I go, Master, I'm not tired. I'm kind of feel the time's difference. It doesn't let me sleep well. Then he looked at me, hey man, that doesn't sleep before the fight because he's afraid. You be afraid, it's okay, but then you gotta sleep. And he gave me a little ceremony of his principal belief, because he believed that great fighters sleep before the fight. If you don't sleep before the fight, that's mean you have no control of yourself. You gotta be able to sleep well, take a good nap. Before the 24 hours before the fight, few hours before the fight as well. Then finally he convinced me. I wasn't feeling like sleep, but I decided to take a melatonin to take a nap because it was on a different time, you know. I was in Brazilian time, but I have to fight in Japan. I arrived about 3-4 days before the fight. Then I felt kind of time difference was hitting me pretty hard. Then I go, okay, listen to Masha, went to the room. I tried to fall asleep. I couldn't fall asleep. Then I went down to the lobby. We were right on the Hilton Hotel in Japan. I went to the lobby to check it out, see what's going on, because I couldn't sleep. It was a day for me. It was a daytime for me, you know. Then it was a night in Japan. I could not really fall asleep. Then when I went downstairs, I'm looking to Carlson right across the hall, right in the lobby, and I look at him and go, he's talking to that guy over there, and the guy is a Japanese guy. You know, the guy was a Japanese guy, and I knew the guy didn't speak English because I tried to speak with him before, and he just spoke Japanese, and I was kind of polite. He was part of the promotion of Pride at the time. Then I go, okay, cool. Shook his hand, awesome, thank you, blah, blah, blah. I barely spoke to the guy because he didn't even speak English. Then I saw Carlson speaking Portuguese with him. I'm far away looking at it. Then I got close, I got very close. I go, Carlson, what's going on here? He goes, what? What's going on what? I go, does he speak Portuguese? He goes, no, he doesn't speak Portuguese. I go, but he doesn't speak English too. How you guys communicate? He looked at me and said, Alan, you stupid. You don't need to communicate only with using words. You can speak it on your own language and mimic. He might understand what you said. Make a mimic. Then it was right. At the time I thought, man, this is crazy. And Carlson was really communicating with this guy, and they were sitting in the lobby laughing loud. Wow, oh my God. How you can communicate like this? That's how eccentric Carlson was. He had this ability to talk. Wow. Carlson Gracie is the man. You know, didn't take long, so I learned what he meant. Then my point is, Carlson Gracie always he teaches you so many things, not inside of the mats and outside of life as well. You know, maybe he was not a great mathematician, how to administrate his life and things like this, but he was a genius in many other things that you could not believe. And one thing I know about Carlson, live with him during my whole life. One thing I know about Carlson, he was very honest person. One time he closed the whole Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu national championship in Brazil. Why? Because his brother Robson tried to interfere in a match. No, he didn't try to interfere. He tried to be the referee of the match that his nephew was fighting and competing with against Rei Diogo from our gym. Then Carlson stopped the whole competition, brought all his athletes to the middle of the mat. The whole competition stopped. So he could remove his brother from being the referee of this match. Then finally, they remove Carlson Gracie from being the referee of this match, and the match went well. I believe Rei Diogo won the match. And just to show how eccentric Carlson was, if anybody tried to do this beside Carlson Gracie, stop a jiu-jitsu competition over there and put his soldiers in the middle of the match, you'd be creating a big problem for you. But not Carlson Gracie. He was different. He was the father of this whole thing over there. he have the morale to do this. It's not many people. Then, one thing I learned with Carlson, his honesty. He was straightforward. He tell you the truth, if it hurts you or not. And another thing you know from him, living with him my whole life, one thing he never did was lie. He never lied to us. I grew up with Carlson. I don't remember one time, I can't remember at all, one time that he told me a lie. I don't remember. He was a different individual. He tell you the truth. He tell what he thinks. He tell you what he believes. He don't walk on eggs with anybody. He could be speaking to the homeless of East LA or the king of Rome. He gonna speak to him on the same manners. Gonna let you know what it is, and gonna stand up for what is right, and he gonna tell you what he believe. You know? And one thing I know, Carlson never lied to us. Then the question goes, did Carlson Gracie train with Helio Gracie? That's the question. For what I heard, I'm gonna go to the board so we can go over this topic a little bit, so we understand why I don't think Carlson trains with Helio. Okay guys, now I'm gonna take you guys to the drawing board so you guys understand history and roots. This Carlos Gracie, the father of us all, he have his sons, and the first son was Carlson Gracie, like he said. And many people say Carlson Gracie trains with Helio Gracie. Not many people say. The side of Helio Gracie lineage, they say that Carlson trains under Helio. Why? Because some people truly believe Carlson trains under Helio Gracie, because Carlson Gracie was one of those main guys that spoke out that all his brothers trained with Helio Gracie. But we have few other brothers that contradicted that history, like Carley, Carlson, I believe even Hobson, that might contradict a little bit this history and say that who trains them was Carlos Gracie. Growing up with Carlson my whole life, if I have to truly believe who really trains him, I believe was his father, Carlos Gracie. Why? Like I told you guys before, Carlson Gracie, he was a visionary, not only in Jiu-Jitsu, but in mixed martial arts as well. He was a visionary. And one thing Carlson have that I admire the most is being honest. And he never lies. I live with Carlson my whole life, and all the people, all his students that lives with him, is gonna say the same thing. Every single one. He's not a guy that lies to you. He tells you straight what it is. Sometimes his truth hurts people. Why? Because it was directed on your face. If he likes you or not, he's gonna tell you what he thinks, what he believes. Then this make us really believe that what Carlson said was true. He was never trained by Helio Gracie. Carlson never said, oh, my uncle never taught me. No, he said, my uncle taught me great techniques. He taught me many times. But did my uncle train me? No. Who trains me was my father. You can make a conclusion for yourself. Stay tuned. History and roots never lies.